2 overtime games in the quarterfinal round, and now we're down to 4, but good God, we could not have had 2 better games in the quarterfinals. The 3 and the 6, the 4 and the 5. We'll break them down for you shortly. The quarterfinal post-game show presented by CrossNet. Joey Zacco here with the guys. All-Star Draft, find that on Facebook. We were live Wednesday night, so check that out. Who's an All-Star? There'll also be more info about that. Let's get to the quarterfinal games. I think we have to start with the 4 or 5. I think that was the better game, even though both went in overtime. That might be a first. 2 overtime games in a single week, in a single night. But the Werewolves escaped by 3, as you can see behind me. Gino, 40-some big shots. They had a chance to win it at the end of regulation. What did you guys see from the Werewolves that allowed them to advance and get ready for the Alliance next week in the semis?
Well, I thought really slowing down that third quarter run that the Skyhookers made was key.
Big
because
run.
I think the Werewolves went like almost 8 minutes, I want to say, without scoring. And it was just huge in that game.
Yeah, something like that. 8 or so minutes.
Yeah, it was like close to that.
Yeah, I think it really came down to the wire. I was a little nervous because I feel like we mention every week how poorly they shoot free throws. And Greg mentioned to me, is like, if it comes down to free throws, it might be Skyhookers will walk away with it. But, I think both teams played really good towards the very end. It came down to a couple of big shots.
Great fourth quarter. The Werewolves, I think, played the better first half. You guys mentioned the third quarter run, and then it was even in the fourth and in the 2-minute overtime. But
yeah, and I think a few key turnovers from Skyhookers at the end kind of killed them. Obviously, O'Donnell with the inbound.
Right, on the last possession.
Yeah, and then there were just a few other turnovers where they try to rush things, and they should have just slowed it down.
And I think that was the one thing you saw from the Werewolves. They made it a thing to slow it down. They're like, we don't have to rush. And I think the Skyhookers were rushed and unfortunately let that affect them.
Yeah, they were trading buckets back and forth for a little while, and it wasn't for like lack of defense. Like a lot of these were tough shots and highly contested around the rim. And like I don't remember who it was, but someone hit like a pretty much an and-1-3. Like it looked like it.
Zach Ward,
Zach Ward.
I know, crazy shot, and that was a big one as the game wound down. But we can go more on them and what impressed you from both games. Let's get to the second one. Big baller Brent forces overtime. Ferranti rolls his ankle. They're hitting shots. We're not. They're getting second chance points. We're not. We're the taller team. They're not. And it goes into overtime. 72-65, I believe. They didn't score in overtime. Big baller brand, man. Almost got that first win in the playoffs, nonetheless.
Yeah, I thought they played really well defensively, way better in that 2-2 zone than they have all year.
Yep.
They seem to be like talking and giving a lot more effort, closing out the shooters. And
they actually went man sooner than they have.
You mentioned how they give up a lot of open threes because their rotation is a little too slow. It's hard to play zone when there's only 4 men on the court.
Yeah, and I mean, they were playing zone, but you guys just weren't knocking down your shots at the beginning. Slow start to the first half, as usual. And then the second half, I mean, Ferranti went down, but he wasn't hitting too many shots either, so you guys just pulled it out in the end, kind of. And you were short, too. You were 6 players. I mean,
and then one goes down.
Yeah, so you were down to 5, so it was a bit tough. But Big Baller did put up a good fight, and
they did.
Cody went off. And Simith had a good game, too. He's been struggling the past few games, so he had a big game.
Not to mention, too, Dylan Lippin was late. He missed that. I don't think he checked in until the second quarter, right?
At least he had his jersey this time, though.
Right.
Yeah, that's like one of your big playmakers.
Yeah. We mentioned at halftime that Brett really didn't get going. And, we thought we kind of had him contained as much as you can. And we kind of just had to close down on the other guys. And then he does Brett Cody things in the second half, and
pulling up from way deep.
Yeah, a couple times.
It's not deep for him, right? What impressed you? So now, let's get to this first. The Alliance will take on the 4-seeded Werewolves, 8 o'clock Wednesday, December 6th. Halfway Crooks and Boom Shakalaka will play at 7 on Wednesday, December 6th. What impressed you? We'll preview those in a second. What impressed you from either game tonight? You can start wherever. I know I'm springing this on you. What impressed you? I know it was 2 close games. Execution was key. Anything stand out from either of the games?
Yeah, I'd say Werewolves hit some free throws.
Finally, right?
Especially down the stretch. Heston last time, I don't know if Lincoln got into his head or what, but he missed a few free throws down the stretch, and you guys won because of that. But this time around, he made sure to hit those big free throws.
I think both winning teams showed a lot of poise tonight, and I feel like this was like a good test going into the second round, knowing that if it does come down to the very end, they've been there before, and they know what they have to do to win to get to the next round.
I was going to say the Skyhookers maybe weren't used to or ready for a close game. They hit that, Kevin Redmond hit a huge shot in crunch time like this. It's teams. It's tough to get ready for things like this, let alone the playoffs. Right? Everything's intensified. But then to be in a game, 1-2 possessions are the difference. It's hard for any team to be ready for that. And I think all the teams were surprisingly poised and ready for those situations that they faced tonight.
Yeah, I was definitely impressed with the grit, not just from the winning teams, from all 4 teams, because there were runs that were made, teams answered, and it seemed like everyone was really going to the basket hard. There were a lot more contact around the rim, and nobody was really afraid to go up strong.
For about an hour, we had another Jeopardy question answer as the only team to go in 2 overtime games in the Rhode Island League.
Werewolves?
Halfway Crooks, good try. So now the Werewolves have also won an overtime game. It's like he doesn't like my team or something. All right, so we're going to preview next week. You guys we'll go down the line again. You can start wherever. Again, Alliance, Werewolves, the 1-4. That'll be at 8 o'clock on the 6th. At 7 o'clock, Boom Shakalaka and Halfway Crooks. I know that's the 3rd meeting for Halfway and Boom. I don't know if I think it is the 3rd meeting as well for Alliance and Werewolves. Okay, so a pair of, they're definitely familiar, a pair of matchups of teams that know each other. What are you looking for from either of those?
I'm just looking, in that Alliance Werewolves game, I want to see how they match up physically against the Alliance, because we all know they're pretty deep as long as they have all their guys showing up, but they're big inside, so they're going to be able to, they're going to need to be able to bang down low and really control the glass, which is very tough to do.
Yeah, from the Alliance game, I think it's going to be a physical test for the Werewolves. If they can somehow use a lot of their fouls and get in their heads, then I think they have a shot to win.
Maybe slow the game down.
Yeah.
Right? Easier said than done. But
They got to break that press, too, because Victor's going to pick up full court right from the start.
Yeah.
And I'll switch over to the Halfway because I think they've said pretty much all of it. You guys, Halfway Crooks got blown out both games against Boom, so they'll definitely need to come out strong in the first half right out the gate. I mean, Boom has had, like a 2-3 week break, so that might be a little rough for them, especially after Thanksgiving.
a lot of food.
Yeah, exactly.
I can only hope.
Exactly. So Halfway's definitely going to have to come out strong, but hopefully it'll be a little closer than the other 2 meetings.
I think you guys are really going to need to close out to their shooters because they got a lot and they're willing to move the ball around really quick.
Jared and I mentioned it in the post game on Facebook. Rebounding, defending for the full game for whatever reason. First and second quarters aren't our thing. And then just hitting some shots and rebounding and defense will lead to making shots. That they're related in a way, but I think that's definitely the key for that game. Any last thoughts?
I was just going to say one thing I think that the Halfway Crooks do really well is communicate and kind of play off each other.
Well, we'll need it.
You guys never really seem to get mad at each other, and some other teams kind of when things don't go the right way, they start to get mad at each other, and I feel like you guys don't ever show that.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to that Dylan Lincoln, Trevor D'Amico matchup next week too.
That's another
be a good
big
one.
They're friends.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of.
Yeah, but not on the court.
I didn't say right. I didn't say that. So semifinals on Wednesday, December 6th, 7 and 8 o'clock. We'll have the All-Star game on the 13th at 7, and the finals at 8 o'clock. We'll be updating that playoff hub. We're going to keep the same hub for the entire playoffs and just update box scores and recaps. Stay tuned for recaps from these games, previews of the semis, and we'll be doing a top 3 plays from the quarterfinals, and that'll be up on Saturday as always. So for the guys, I'm Joey. Crossnet game. I don't even know if I mentioned them. Link below this video. I'm gonna get in trouble for not doing that. 20% off, code Legacy, and makes a great holiday gift. So check them out as always below this video, and we will see you in the semifinals on December 6th.